begin the second half with a loss, but offense was a problem in the first half. They got 7 runs last night, and they have several hitters who are second half players.
Well, Ryan, earlier in the last road trip, we both decided that David De Jesus was going to be one of those guys that really explode the second half, and he's off to a great start. Billy Butler's maintained that in the third spot since he moved, and Alex Jordan is really the guy that everybody needs to watch the second half to see how he comes back from his injury and also see if he can improve on the numbers offensively from last season.
The lineup tonight presented by M&I Bank, and the only real change, Jose Guillen is in there as the designated hitter against the left-hander Scott Kazmir. Mike Jacobs, who had a 3-run home run last night, is off. And the Royals will be facing Scott Kazmir, a good pitcher who's having a bad year. Here's the Kia pitching report.
Well, Ryan, I think you look at the ERA the last 3 years, he's been first. And he's not having a great 09, but I tell you what, you don't go 3 years with that kind of ERA and not have that great game in you. So it's going to be one of those games where the Royals can't look at this ERA. They're going to just have to go out and battle hard to try to win this game.
Well, when you score 7 runs, you have more than 10 hits. There are several contributors. And how about Yunieski Betancourt in his Royals debut? A couple of hits and a triple. And when you hit a triple, you're officially a Royal in 2009. The first pitch is next. The first time in his career, he did not face the Rays when the Royals were in St. Petersburg last month. Tonight's game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Kauffman Stadium looking as immaculate as ever on another autumn-like night. Here's the lineup that Zach will face, presented by M&I Bank. And like the Royals, the Rays with just one change. Willie Ibar will be at second base. Ben Zobrist will move to right. So Gabe Gross is out of the starting lineup tonight. Michel Hernandez is behind the plate. B.J. Upton ready to go, and Zach hits the outside corner. 2 hits, a double, and a run scored for B.J. Upton last night. One ball, 1 strike. Zach's last start in the Boston series, or rather the Tigers series. That was on Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, taking a 3-1 loss. And the damage was done very early. That was the game Zach gave up a walk, and there was a fluke kind of chop hit. David DeJesus threw to a wrong base, and the Tigers getting 2 runs in the first inning. Zach finished very strong. He had, of his last 12 outs, 8 were strikeouts, but took the loss. Here's the Kia pitching report on Zach.
Well, one of the big ones that stand out is Crawford 1 for 13. If you keep him off the base, they don't have to worry about dividing his attention between the hitter and the base runner. And his success against Evan Longoria stands out big so far going into this game, Ryan.
Kind of a half swing, diving play, Callaspo, and then just couldn't get his feet set, or I should say his knees set. He was going to throw from his knees, and you have to hurry with Upton's speed. It's an infield single.
Well, Zach makes a really good pitch here, and Alberto does a good job of catching this ball behind him, Ryan. When he reaches for the ball, he didn't make the transfer. And one thing that I can point out about Alberto that really hurts him a lot is his head. His head always turns before he makes the transition, and if he just wait and get it, then turn, then he'll make that transition on the ground ball just like he would on double plays.
So great speed on the field now for the Rays. You have 31 stolen bases at first and 45 stolen bases at the plate. Crawford had 3 hits, scored 3 times, and added his 45th stolen base last night. Royals started playing the 6-10 games on Saturday. And one of the first things that the hitters noticed is that it was tough to pick up the ball for the first hour or so as the pitcher is in the shadows, the backdrop in the bright sunlight. The runners at first are dealing with the sun setting off to the left field side. So for the most part, advantage pitcher for the first few innings.
Well, it's a good time for Zach to use his fastball a lot more early in the innings like this, and then that hard breaking slider would be a much more effective pitch coming through those highlighted shadows there.
Crawford strikes out. So 1 down with Upton at first base.
But the one thing Zach's doing is Zach hits the glove, and he does a good job right here with that hard slider. Puts it right where Miguel Oliva wants it, and Crawford swings over the top of it.
And now Evan Longoria with that 2-out, 2-run home run off of Juan Cruz in the 8th inning last night, his 18th of the year. Rays getting a couple of home runs late. In the 7th inning, it was Pat Burrell hitting a 2-run home run against Jamie Wright, making it a 1-run game. Royals were still in front, and then Longoria's home run putting Tampa Bay in front, 8-7, and that was the final. Upton is running. Longoria swings and misses, and Oliva with a great throw down to second base. And B.J. Upton didn't wait around to see if Joe West was going to call him out or safe. He made up his own mind. 2 down.
Well, he gets a real good jump here, Ryan, but Zach is really quick to the plate, and Miguel Oliva had a great ball to throw, and he threw it right in the right spot for a tag. It was up high. Caspo makes a nice tag. If Joe West had made a mistake on that one and called him safe, he would have been out just from leaving the base.
So Zach back to the windup. And just missed the outside, according to Paul Schreiber. 2 balls, 1 strike. Billy Butler never saw it. Tee in the closest, coming in from right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 75 degrees at first pitch, so still feeling a lot more like early fall than it is the middle of the summer, but we'll take it. Game started at 6:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCA. Another nice crowd here tonight. Not quite as big as last night, over 33,000. Royals giving away figuring replicas of Dick Hauser's statue in the outfield experience. Still 2-2 on Longoria. Zach has never beaten Tampa Bay. He's faced them 7 times. 4 times as a starter. Three balls, 2 strikes. Longoria sitting on a 3-2 changeup from Juan Cruz with 2 outs last night in the 8th inning. Still 3-2. This one stays in play. Billy sees this one. And Zach faces only 3 in the first inning. At sea, and they're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And we welcome you to Kauffman Stadium for Game 2 between the Royals and the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay winning last night 8-7. Royals giving away figurines to the first 20,000 fans, a replica of the statue of Dick Hauser, who led the Royals to the World Series in 1985 and a championship over the Cardinals. Jana Hauser, Dick's daughter, throwing out the first pitch and going from the top of the mound. Dick Hauser, one of 3 retired numbers in Royals history. His number 10 up there with Frank White's number 20 and George Brett's number 5.
Of all the first pitches I've ever thrown, I've never gone to the top of the mound. I always have this fear of striding to throw the ball and doing the splits or something.
For someone who has accomplished as much as you have on the baseball field, you have more fear now of the ball and the game and the field of anyone I know.
Comes with age.
How you feeling today, by the way, after the Hall of Fame Classic?
They're pretty stiff. No pain, just stiffness.
David DeJesus with 3 hits last night, including a double in the bottom of the first inning, and now lines it into center field. He's hit in 6 straight games. And this is the best he has swung the bat over a 10-game stretch if you go back to before the All-Star break. As good a stretch as he's had all year.
I talked to him before the game today, and he said he just feels fine. I mean, he feels like he's really staying in there, and he's never really had any real fear of facing left-handed pitching. He just, whether he pulls off or not, but he's really been staying behind the ball, letting the ball travel deep, and just trying to stay from the middle to left center field.
Now 0-1 on Willie Bloomquist, who bunted DeJesus over to third last night after David began the inning with a double. Mark Tien's ground ball got DeJesus to the plate. Royals had an early 1-0 lead and then a 6-2 lead after getting 5 in the third. Bartlett deep short. Tough time getting it out of his glove, but still got DeJesus at second base. 1 on, 1 out.
Well, this is a real nice play here by Bartlett. He's got the ball, but when he go to jump, he didn't really make the transition from glove to hand, and that's why he had the little hesitation, and the ball kind of floated over to second base. And that's one of those plays when you Willie Ibar, your shortstop goes deep in the hole like that, you know you're only going to get 1 out. So it's better to be like a first baseman and stretch out and try to make that play rather than try to take it in the same position if you were going to try to turn the double play.
0-1 to Billy Butler. On base twice last night. A single and a walk, scored a run. And 2. Well, something to watch tonight is if the Royals can build on what they did last night. 7 runs, even though it was a loss against a pitcher that had given him such a bad time prior to last night. James Shields had won his first 5 starts against KC. The Royals getting 7 runs, 11 hits off of him. So as Billy takes a all third strike. So Kazmir strikes out his first, 2 down in the first inning.
Well, what Kazmir does is sort of like Mark Burley. He really cuts his fastball in on right-handers, and he just really throws Billy Butler with this cutter.
But this embattled offense that took so much heat in the first half, coming up with 7 runs last night. Did that have a relaxing effect on this offense, and will they be able to build on that tonight? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, it's nice to go out and score. You know, you want to win. Yeah, obviously you will score 7 runs. You want to win the ball game, and I think that gives you a lot more to build on. But like you say, runs have been hard to come by for the Royals, and to go out and put 7 up, I guess, especially like you say, against a pitcher who's been pretty dominant against them, has to give them some sense of confidence coming into this ball game.
To Longoria on the left side. Guillen is out, and the Royals are scoreless in the bottom of the first. Zach Greinke gave up a single to B.J. Upton, who was eventually caught stealing and faced only 3 in the first. He'll get Carlos Pena, Ben Zobrist, and Pat Burrell in the second inning. Pena hitless last night with a couple of strikeouts, giving him 113 already this year. And his game is power. There is no gray area whatsoever. He looks for a pitch that he likes, and he tries to kill it. Most of his outs are in the air. That's why the low batting average, 24 home runs, leads the league. But you'd like to get more hits from a guy who has that much ability with the bat. Also leads the league in walks.
That's the number I find surprising too, Ryan, is the walks. The walks and strikeouts don't, in my mind, don't seem to go together. If you have the ability to walk that many times, then you should be able to make contact on a line drive in many more times than he has, and eliminate some of those strikeouts.
Well, I want to run a theory by you, see if you agree. Just looking at those numbers, we don't watch him play every day. Strikes out again, 3rd time in the series. Zach's second tonight. But with those numbers, I mean, there's obviously some patience. He knows what he wants. But with the big strikeouts and the low batting average, is he just swinging too hard? Too many overswings?
Maybe just too home run conscious, but Zach really pounds that fastball in on his hands right there. But that might be the weakness right there. Just throw that fastball just above the hands on the inner half of the plate.
An early sign malfunction. By the time they get that figured out, Zach might have his 3rd strikeout tonight. There we go.
You know, it kind of puts you in the mind of Mike Jacobs. You know, he just got that one swing and that one zone, and if you get the ball in there, he's got you. And if you don't, then you got him. But Pena puts the walks in between there, which makes him a double threat at that point.
Zobrist zips one by Greinke. 1 on 1 out in the second inning.
Yeah, he really hits it. He really hits this ball really well. I mean, Zach is usually quick as a cat right there, but I think he had to get his head out. He probably figured that was centered, and then he realized he couldn't have time to make an adjustment to where the ball was. You just look at the eyes on this one here. The face told the whole story.
And now 0-1 on Pat Burrell. Had a key hit for the Rays in their comeback victory last night, a 2-run home run in the 7th inning. You know, the thing about it, some of those guys that we're talking about, you know, they're big, strong guys. You think they don't have to, you know, put 100% into every swing. I mean, 80, 85, 90% of a swing, which might result in more contact. They're still going to get their home runs.
Well, you have those guys just maximum effort all the way, and Jose Canseco was one of those guys that just once it started, it was gone. And Mike Jacobs is that way. So Steve Balboni was that way. So you have guys who just want to go up there. That's what they're going to do. They're going to hit a low average, and they're going to drive in runs at the same time, which is an odd combination. But normally when they hit home runs, it's 2-run homers, 3-run homers, and at the end of the year, they got great numbers on the production side.
Fans oohing and awing at Zach's 69-mile-per-hour curveball, putting him ahead of Burrell 1-2. And the slider puts him away. So 3 strikeouts for Zach, 2 down in the second inning.
Well, this is the pitch here, Ryan, and this is an excellent pitch for Zach. It's never going to be down the middle of the plate, but yet it's close enough to the plate, and with his arm action the same as his fastball, but by the time the hitters realize what kind of pitch it is, they've already swung at it.
A lot of confusion with the Zach sign. As Ibar pulls it through the hole, almost hit Zobrist, and is going to move up to third base. Runners at the corners with 2 down. So 2 strikeouts and 2 singles for the Rays against Greinke in the second inning.
Zobrist does a real good job here. He really lets the ball pass. Normally when you do that, you don't have a chance to go first or third, but he lets the ball pass, and then he really turns it on and really challenged Mark Teahen going to third base. That was an excellent read and a good job of base running.
And brings us to Jason Bartlett, hitless last night, did reach with a walk. And into center, slicing away from Bloomquist. So Ibar and Bartlett going after first pitches, and that results in the first run of the game.
Well, this is a real good fastball, 97 miles an hour, and Bartlett hit it right on the end of the bat, which means he was probably cheating looking for it, and the ball went out to center field and started to just flare toward right center field out of the reach of Willie Bloomquist. And this is kind of when Zach's got to kind of change a little bit here, Ryan, and I know he wants to throw his fastball, but right now it might be better to throw a first pitch breaking ball to get him off the fastball.
And a slider for a strike to Michel Hernandez. Well, I think what we've learned about Zach in the first half, or at least what the league is trying to do against him, is hitters do not want to go deep into the count, and anything hittable early in the count, especially the fastball, they're jumping right on it.
They want to get it right away, so that was a good job of recognizing that they need to make a change right there, and he did a good job of working his way through this inning.
Rays take a 1-0 lead in the second inning.
Ryan, Frank, you guys have seen a look at the Hall of Fame from the booth looking out at it, but here's actually the entrance, walking by the left field gate right now, and here is the Hall of Fame, a little bit of a line to get in. Basically what happens is they let in groups of 40 every 15 minutes, and you can also come during the day. It's open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., a must-see for fans of Kansas City baseball, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel, and I'll say tonight what I said last night. Everyone that has passed through the Hall of Fame that I've come into contact with has just gone on and on about how great it is with the displays, the interactive parts of the Hall of Fame. I ran into Barbara White, the wife of Fred White, and she said the movie that you watch when you're in the Hall of Fame, they actually have you sit in an area that's very similar to the Royals dugout. It'll bring you to tears going back to the glory days of the Royals.
Well, I was over there the other night, and I just sit down to watch the movie, and the movie's just starting to come on, and someone says, hey, you guys have to go take a picture. so I never got to see the movie, so I'm gonna have to come back and check it out later.
Not what Scott Kazmir and the Rays had in mind. They take the lead, and he comes back and walks Mark Teahen, leading off the next inning on 4 pitches. Joe Maddon's been very patient with Scott Kazmir, who's spent time on the disabled list this year and just hasn't been able to put it together. He has made 12 starts. In half of his starts, he's allowed 6 or more earned runs. So 6 out of 12, 6 or more earned runs. He's given up a home run in 8 of his 12 starts. He has gone more than 5 innings in only 5 of his 12 starts. And comes in tonight with a 7.11 ERA, and he's still looking for his first strike in this bottom of the 2nd inning. Teahen has stolen 5 this year, has not been thrown out attempting to steal. 1 ball, 1 strike. Teahen had 2 hits last night. Miguel Olivo had 2 hits last night. Also reached with a walk for only the 4th time this year. Pulls it to third. Longoria. How about those quick feet and hands? Double play. That looks like a shortstop playing third base.
Well, it was a great release. The throw could have been a little harder to Albar at second base, but he got it there quick enough that Albar was able to make the adjustment. So once you drop your arm and it throws low, that's a tough ball for a second baseman to handle. But he handled it with ease because he got it a lot quicker than most guys would get it to third base.
He is a complete package. Now ball 1 to Alex Gordon. Returned to the Royals last night and went 1 for 4. Played in the first 7 games this year and then missed 81. 2-0. Kazmir taking too long, and Alex backs out. Three 3-0. Remains to be seen how much Alex is going to play. Trey Hillman has already hinted that he might play 2 or 3 games in a row and then maybe get a day off, or at least half a day off as a designated hitter, as the surgically repaired hip continues to heal. That's 2 4-pitch walks surrendered by Kazmir in this 2nd inning. So that double play off the bat of Olivo is huge. And that brings up Alberto Callaspo. Final game of the series is tomorrow afternoon at 1:10. Luke Hochevar against Matt Garza. Tomorrow's game is in high definition, and coverage begins at 12:30 with Royals Live. And the Royals will begin a 3-game series with the Angels on Monday.
Right. I think Joe Maddon would probably say the most disappointing about the walks is their walks to 2 left-handed batters, and these are the guys that left-handers supposed to get out, and 4 pitch walks to them. That just makes it even look worse.
And Kazmir is not one of those guys who is particularly dominant against one side versus the other, both hitting over 300 against him this year. Blocked by Hernandez, and that keeps Alex at first base. Alberto 0 for 4 last night. He's facing Kazmir for the first time. And with Alex Gordon back in the lineup and easing back in as the number 7 hitter, Trey Hillman can move Alberto Callaspo down to number 8, trying to get some more production from the bottom of the lineup. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kazmir, the New York Mets first-round pick in 2002. Just foul. New York Mets had some concerns about Kazmir's size. He's listed at 6 foot, may not be that tall, but we're concerned that his frame, which is not big by today's standards, whether that'd be able to withstand 30 starts a year. So they traded him to the Rays for Victor Zambrano. Hit deep into left field. Crawford was shallow, and it's going to sail over his head. Alex to third. He's going to be waved home by Dave Owen, and Bartlett's throw is short. On his way to third, Cayaspo, and the Royals have tied the game. It'll be a double and an RBI for Cayaspo to third on the throw to the plate.
Well, Alberto does a great job, Ryan, here. This cutter that came in, he tucked his hands in good, and Crawford looked like he didn't get a good read off the bat, and he was able to get this ball over his head. And then you watch Alex going around the bag, and here when he hits third base, now he's puffing and puffing pretty good right there, so didn't really get a good push off the bag and struggled a little bit those first few steps around third base.
0-1 on Yuniesky Betancourt, who had 2 hits last night and scored a run. There is a big difference between running in workouts and even running in the rehab games. Once you get to this level, there's a gear that you don't really use until you get back to this level.
Well, you're right, Ryan. It makes a big difference. You're trying to score from first base after a long time out, and knowing how important it is to get there, then you're right. You push yourself a lot harder.
Royals turn a walk into a run and tie the game in the second. And Carlos Pena in the ballpark. They've hit a combined 42 home runs. Text 432 432. Enter keyword Royals followed by a space and then A or B. Here is the top of the order, and Upton going after a slow curve, didn't get it. Reached with an infield single in the first inning and then caught stealing by Miguel Olivo for the 9th time this year. And again through the right side for a base hit. So Upton 2 for 2, and now Carl Crawford forget about Royal Nights this year, featuring $5 upper level seats. Every Monday game except for late September will feature view level infield, Hy-Vee box, and Hy-Vee view level seats, all for just $5. And the next Royal Night is coming up in just a couple of days with the Angels in town. Royals made a roster move before tonight's game. Gil Mesh was placed on the disabled list, having problems with his back. He had an injection to try and eliminate some of the inflammation, so he will not start in the Angels series. Sidney Ponson will pitch on Monday, coming back from the disabled list and a rehab assignment in the minor leagues, and Bruce Chen will pitch on Tuesday. Two and 0 on Crawford, struck out swinging in the first inning. Two and 1, and here is that strikeout back in the first inning. It's tonight's Arby's pitch by pitch.
Well, Ryan Crawford has a tough time with Zach anyway. I think 1 for 13 coming into the day, and Zach just went after him with his fastball and got him down in the count. And then he does his signature pitch to a left-hander with 2 strikes, throwing that slider down underneath their swing.
Zach has also struck out Carlos Pena and Pat Burrell tonight. All-Star Zach with what looks like an All-Star Zach jersey. And listening to the Royals on radio. De Jesus to the barrier wall, and no play. 2 and 2. Oh, we touched on it at the top of the broadcast, but some guys feel like when they go to the All-Star game, they come back and they feel like they have to do something special to validate their selection to the All-Star game, but you don't think that's going to affect Zach at all?
I don't think so. I think he's going to pitch the same game, Ryan. I think Zach is one of those guys that things like awards and things like that don't seem to matter to him at this point. He just wants to go out and put together a good performance, and he's always the first one to say, I can't believe you guys are all excited about what I'm doing. I'm just doing my job. I have to think too, Ryan, that anybody that competes at this level, you always want to be known as one of the elite. You know, you want to be, even though you may not put yourself ahead of a Halladay, a guy who's been doing it for a few years, or maybe a Verlander, or even a Wakefield or Beckett who's got 11 wins, but still you want to be mentioned in that top 5 or that are the best pitchers in the American League.
And it was easy to make a case for Zach to be the starter in the All-Star game. Joe Madden decided to go with Roy Halladay, who has a longer track record. I don't think Halladay's numbers matched up to Zach's this year, but if you're talking about the last 6 or 7 years. And if Zach has close to the same season next year, well, now he's done it 2 years in a row, and whatever American League team wins the pennant this year, then maybe that's an easier decision to have Greinke be the starter. And he just picked off B.J. Upton. So Upton's been caught stealing tonight, and he's been picked off after a couple of leadoff singles.
Normally, Ryan, what this is just a lack of paying attention right here on the base runner's part. You got to always think that a guy with Zach's ability, as he's starting to go up to his set position, he'll throw before he gets there, and I think that's where B.J. Upton got caught off guard right there.
And now Zach strikes out Carl Crawford. So 4 strikeouts. Second time Zach has gotten Crawford.
Well, this is the pitch right here, and I tell you what, for some reason the left-handed hitters have a hard time seeing that pitch, and I think it's because he's throwing it out of the same arm slot as his fastball, same arm speed, and when they recognize it, it looks like a fastball, but when they go to swing, it disappears down underneath their swing.
And that means Longoria bats with nobody on base.
And that's always a good thing.
Well, you always wonder about the so-called sophomore slump and what kind of pressure a young player is going to put on himself after having a big year, and Longoria winning Rookie of the Year. He was the first rookie last year in 50 years to have 15 home runs, 20 doubles, and 50 RBIs before the All-Star break. And all he did this year was go out and have more than 15 home runs, more than 20 doubles, and more than 50 RBIs again before the All-Star break.
Well, it's nice to see guys come back and back those years up, especially after Rookie of the Year performance. But I tell you, he looks like he's got the kind of swing that it's really conducive to the slow breaking ball, the hangers, and anything off speed with 2 strikes.
Zach had it reaching on a 2-1 pitch, and he faces the minimum in the third. We honor Kelly Barth of Des Moines, Iowa, dedicated Head for the Cure Foundation supporter, became actively involved with the organization after her aunt Lisa was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. The same ailment that took former Royals manager Dick Hauser. 20,000 fans getting his figurine tonight, a replica of his statue in the outfield experience. So welcome to Kauffman Stadium to Kelly Barth. David DeJesus, Willie Bloomquist, and Billy Butler coming up in the third inning. David singled in the first and forced out on Bloomquist ground out. David off to a 4-for-6 start in the second half, inching closer to 270. Two and one. You know, another thing that might come up as far as David's slow start, he had a career year last year, and the expectations, we were just talking about Evan Longoria winning the Rookie of the Year award. 2-2 on David. Pretty good call by the home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. Now let me ask you about a couple of years in your career. I'll just running through the stats, and I decided that 1986 was maybe your career year, just looking at batting average, home runs, and RBIs. 2-2 on DeJesus. So here's what we've come up with. 151 games in 86, 272, 22 home runs, 84 RBIs. But then after this pitch, let's take a look at the next year, 1987. That may stay in play for Longoria or Hernandez, and it's just out of Longoria's reach. Still 2-2. Then the next year, Frank, you played in more games, but dropped down to 245. Home runs went down, RBIs went down. And I don't say this to pick on you, because I'm sure there's some pressure when you have the best year of your career. Now people are expecting more things from you. You're probably expecting more things from you.
Well, the year before, 85, I hit 22 home runs also that year. And the 87 year, the only difference in the 87 year was I was batting down in the middle of the order. And then when John Wathan took over as manager, they moved me back to the 8th spot. So I got pitched a little bit differently. And so I didn't get that fastball that I was used to getting down in the middle of the order with all the good hitters behind me. That would be the only difference in 87.
But did you, there's Duke Wathan. Do you remember consciously thinking, wow, these are some big numbers. This is the type of player I am right now. I have to maybe not just duplicate what I did the year before, but maybe I'd like to add to what I did the year before. Now, that was later in your career, obviously.
It was late in my career, and coming off of a 22 home run season the season before, and then going out and doing it again in 86, I had 2 years behind me to back that up. So my whole deal was the home runs obviously was an important part, because then 20 home runs by infield were big. And that was, and being productive was always more important to me than the high batting average. And I've had to do it all over again. I probably would have paid more attention to the high batting average, and that would have probably put me in a position probably to be in the Hall of Fame. But I think that with me it was like, okay, what do you need? You know, I batted in every spot in the lineup, made every change that the manager wanted me to make in the lineup. So I just more or less said, put me where you want me, let's go. I didn't really care. I just was going to be the same guy regardless.
Longoria, great play, and from foul ground gets Bloomquist. Man, he does it all with the bat, and he's made 2 good plays with the glove tonight.
Well, that's an outstanding play there, Ryan. That's great. That's a great play right there.
Here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison for Kazmir and Greinke. Jack has hit 99 on a good night to pitch. 75 degrees. Kazmir throws hard too at 95. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Ball 1 to Billy, struck out in the first inning.
Yeah, I think one of the things with me too, Ryan, I never really had a strong desire to repeat the batting average, but I always wanted to try to at least repeat or better the production. And that was pretty much what I was focused on most of my career, was being a more productive hitter than a hitter who hit it for high average.
Kazmir, after getting in trouble with walks in the second inning, faces only 3 in the third. City's own Tom Watson is one day away from winning the British Open at 59 years old. He is 4 under. He was 1 over today in the 3rd round. So he has a 1-shot lead over Matthew Goggin. One of the most famous golf shots, clutch golf shots that I can remember, Watson in, I think it was in 1983, chipping in from the rough on the back of a hill and jumping through the rough, following his ball into the hole, and big celebration as the ball went in the hole. And well, 1983, that was 26 years ago.
I know Tom personally, and it's kind of neat to see what he's doing right now. And you think back to when he was on the senior tour and won the British Open 3 times, and on a regular tour, the British Open 5 times. So why aren't we talking about Tom Watson a lot more?
3-pitch strikeout. Greinke gets Carlos Pena for the 2nd time, and Zach has punched out 5 in 3 1/3 innings.
Well, Zach, when Zach's really feeling that slider, Ryan, it really works well for him. And you, as a hitter, you can just tell yourself it's coming. I just got to make it be a strike. But so far, the hitters aren't making it be a strike, and Zach's getting away with it. But the way this game's going now, he can use a few more runs, and that'll be good.
Well, Zach pretty much summed it up. He came up with his own conclusions looking at Tampa Bay and seeing that they hit a lot of home runs. 3rd most home runs in the American League, and we saw a couple of those last night. It's 1-1 on Ben Zobrist, and he also saw a lot of strikeouts. The Rays are also among the league leaders in hitters' strikeouts. In fact, they have the most. So Zach's, in his mind, figured out if you pitch well, you have a chance to beat this club, but if you make mistakes, they're going to hurt you as much as anyone in the league.
Well, that's true, and I tell you, that one just squeaked by Billy Butler at first base, but he's doing a great job of making those changes.
Royals baseball brought to you tonight by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Now, what I just presented is no different than any team in the American League. You make good pitches, you're going to beat them. If you don't make good pitches, then they're going to beat you. But as far as how Zach's games go, and with his stuff, not that he goes and tries to strike out a lot of hitters, but just looking at the numbers, if it's a good game for him tonight, he'll be getting a lot of strikeouts.
Oh, definitely. He's in that 8-9 range pretty regularly when he's on.
And he's 0-2 on Burrell, who swung through a slider in the 2nd inning.
And that's a noticeable change right there, throwing a slider early in the count. Normally he saves it for later, but now you see where he and Oliva are really working good together and recognizing when they need to go to something different. And he's doing a great job of it. Now he actually threw the slider for a strike at that point.
Laid off that slider, 1-2. Well, 5 strikeouts so far. Crawford twice, Pena twice, and now hoping for Burrell twice. And he's got it. 6 strikeouts, 2 down in the 4th inning.
Zach is really in a good place right now, Ryan. I mean, he's been able to come out against Pat Burrell and stay away from the fastball, throw his slider, and get a strikeout. So Miguel Olivo and Zach are really doing a great job in changing things up.
Willie Ibar singled his first time up, chasing the first pitch, and that's exactly what he does in his 2nd at-bat. Inning almost identical to the 2nd inning. A strikeout, a single, a strikeout, a single. And Jason Bartlett capped the 2nd inning with a base hit that scored Ben Zobrist. And he went after a first pitch, and that was a fastball up. Let's see what Zach gives him this time around.
Yeah, the fastball he left up out over the plate, and Albert did a great job of driving that ball between Gordon and Betancourt.
This time he gets a slider down and away. Detailed it last night. Last year, Jason Bartlett winning team MVP from the local writers in Tampa St. Pete. He had 1 home run, 37 RBIs, but they were talking more about his defense and what he did to stabilize the middle for the Rays. Well, he muscled up during the offseason, especially his upper body, and now he has 8 home runs, 39 RBIs. Make it 40 with his RBI tonight. So he surpassed his season numbers right around the midway point. And that's really been the biggest change for him. That he's kind of a light hitting shortstop, but at times you can knock the bat out of his hands. Felt he needed to get a little bit stronger, but hasn't affected any of his range at shortstop. That's something you really worry about, as a guy who can really move, putting on too much weight.
Putting on too much weight, getting a little bit too tight, you know, losing that range of motion in your throwing, especially when you have to backhand a ball in the hole and come up throwing. You just don't want to be too much. You don't have a lot of chest. You don't want to make sure your chest doesn't get too big. You don't want to throw around it, across it. So just mainly just kind of stay flexible, what do you call it, long and fluid body versus a bulky body. That's what you don't want at shortstop.
And he walks Bartlett with 4 straight pitches. So they're loaded up with 2 outs for Michel Hernandez. Zach's first walk tonight, and only the 22nd walk all season. Hernandez grounded out hard to Gordon at third base his first time up. Off the end of the bat and over towards the Royals dugout. Hernandez, similar story to Brian Pena and Yuniesky Betancourt from Cuba. Defected back in '96, but it took him 7 years to get to the big leagues. And he only played in 5 games in 2003, and then didn't play in the big leagues again until last year. One ball, 1 strike. Betancourt, defecting from Cuba in 2003. Brian Pena in 1999. Betancourt's story is pretty amazing, and we'll get into that later in this homestand, but he had one of those defection stories where he left the island on a raft and spent over 10 hours in the water, shark-infested waters. Several people who defected with him died. Ended up on a smuggler's boat and didn't see land for almost 2 days. Zach gets a pop-up to the right side. Billy takes care of it, and the Rays leave the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Royals Hall of Fame.
Ryan Frank, we got a little ahead of the tour, so it's quiet in here right now. Here's Frank White's 8 Gold Gloves on display. That is obviously going to be a huge hit, and then maybe the biggest hit here, literally and figuratively, 3,154 balls to signify all of George Brett's hits. Got the bat and the ball from his 3,000th hit. Some pretty incredible stuff in here, guys.
0-1 on Jose Guillen. I'll bet George walks into the Hall of Fame and says, you know, my 3,154 hits sure look pretty simple when they're all just stacked together. Pearl white baseballs. A lot of hard work over a long career to get all those hits.
Oh, for sure. But what a great display. I mean, that was great imagination putting that one together.
Jose Guillen grounded out to third in the first inning. One of the teams he has played for, Tampa Bay, from '99 to 2001. And again, rolls out to the left side. He did a lot of that in the first half as teams continue to pitch him inside. This time Bartlett throws him out, 1 down. So what do you think? An adjustment for Jose Guillen, or just simply laying off that pitch and forcing the pitcher to get more out over the plate?
I think you just have to take that pitch and make sure it's a strike first before you go after it. When you start getting jammed a lot like that and hitting lazy ground balls, it means you're not getting to the ball. So the ball's either got to be a ball in off the plate, or you just not, or you got to change your focus to the inner half and try to turn on it and hit it long foul to let them know you can get to it, and then that itself will force them back out over the plate. But I think, Ryan, really, I just don't think the ball's a strike.
Tien walked on 4 pitches in the second inning, and then was erased along with Miguel Olivo when Olivo hit into a double play. And that was a big play for Kazmir because he had 2 walks in the inning, gave up a double, but because of the double play, only 1 run. Could have been a big inning for the Royals. To left center field, big gap out there, but Upton with his closing speed almost ran it down. Tien stops at second with a 1-out double. Not often you hit the ball that high in Tampa Bay's outfield and the ball drops. Tien connects with his 20th double of the year.
Well, he hits this slider right at the end of the break and end of his swing, and I'm surprised he really was able to drive this ball quite as far. But we know what kind of strength he has there with that lead arm going to left center field. But that was a great piece of hitting by Mark Tien right there.
That snaps a string of 5 in a row retired by Kazmir, all on ground balls. And now Miguel Olivo. Miguel hitting into 5-4-3 double play in the second inning. This took a lot of the steam out of the Royals inning. And then Gordon walked. Callaspo doubled him home. That tied the game at 1.
Well, Kazmir likes to cut this fastball in on the right-hander's hands and try to create that ground ball.
Change up that time. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, there's some hitters, Ryan, that pitchers get them out, and then there's some hitters that get themselves out. And if you don't get yourself out, you definitely get yourself in a hole by chasing bad pitches, especially when the pressure's on the pitcher to give you a good pitch to hit.
Hernandez blocks another one, 2-1. You know, Levo is hitting at 249 right now after grounding into a double play in the second inning, and that's pretty impressive considering how often he is down in the count. He's ahead of the count now, but he is usually 0-1. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and considering how many pitches he swings at that are not strikes, like that last one, all of a sudden 249 doesn't look all that bad.
Well, it doesn't look bad at all, and he's been able to deliver some big home runs in there too. But he's got a base open, so it doesn't look like they really want to give him anything good to hit. He just got to be able to just make Kazmir get the ball up so he can drive the ball.
3 balls, 2 strikes. hard into the corner with hooking foul. So we'll do it again at 3-2. We'll also remind you the 4th T-shirt Tuesday is coming up during the Angels series, 7-10. Royals going to give a nod to the 80s. 20,000 fans will receive a T-shirt with a retro-inspired Royals graphic, courtesy of Sprint. Just got a piece. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. So I guess the trick for Kevin Seitzer is to try and get Miguel Olivo to take that 2-strike approach to the beginning of an at-bat. I mean, there's another guy who is so big and strong that he doesn't need to take a full swing to pile up a whole bunch of extra base hits. And he takes a walk. He's walked in back-to-back games. And 2 on, 1 out for Alex Gordon.
Maybe he's going to be one of those guys that go full bore for the first 2 strikes and then shorten it up and just try to put it in play. He did a great job pulling his hands in and hitting that long drive to left field, and he took a tough pitch that he normally doesn't take to walk on right there.
Well, remember that graphic we looked at in Boston that Olivo, with runners in scoring position, he was hitting about 180, but when he was leading off an inning, he was hitting about 280. So, okay, what's the approach when there's nobody on, and what's the approach when there are runners in scoring position? 0-1 to Alex, walked and scored the Royals run in the 2nd inning.
I think it just goes back to the amount of pressure that you put on yourself. I mean, when there's nobody on base, then you're only thinking about getting yourself on base. But you get a man in scoring position, now you're trying to figure out how to get him in. And I think a lot of hitters put too much pressure on themselves in that situation.
Broke his bat, and that's just foul, and it's 0-2.
That's the one thing Alex is going to have to really keep working hard on too, Ryan. It's really just laying off that ball inside, taking that ball for a ball, and forcing his left-handed pitchers out over the plate more so he can drive the ball to center field, left center field. As long as he swings at this pitch, they're going to keep coming in there until he makes that change.
He has Tien at second base and Olivo at first with 1 out. Another block by Hernandez. Alex spent a lot of time during the offseason with Kevin Seitzer. Shortly after Kevin was named hitting coach, Alex lives in KC year-round. And really buying into Kevin's theory of using the middle of the field. Was doing that well in spring training. Homered in his first at-bat this year. He was able to check his swing, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and that was against a left-hand pitcher, Mark Burley, and hit it to straightaway center field on a cold afternoon at U.S. Cellular Field, and thinking, wow, maybe that's a sign of good things to come. But 6 games later, he was out with the torn cartilage in the hip. And he takes the count from 0-2 to 3-2. Do it again. Once he gets going and once he's played a week, a couple of weeks of games, it'll be interesting to ask Alex, and we touched on this briefly last night, was anything gained by just taking a step back and watching baseball for a couple of months and not worrying about your own performance, but just taking in the game?
That'd be a great question. I look forward to hearing the answer to that one.
Up the middle, Bartlett is right there, and the Rays turn it into a double play. The second double play they have turned behind Kazmir tonight. Having a good game or not tonight would be strikeouts, and he has 6 of them already.
Well, he does, Ryan, and he's got that slider working too. He just gets in these little deals with his fastball where some hitters are still looking for it, and he thinks he's set him up, other hitters up enough where they can look for something else. But the fastball, they're still geared toward the fastball. So just spotting that fastball where he wants it is going to be key the rest of the ball game.
That gives him 135 strikeouts this year, and he is in the top 3 in the American League in strikeouts. But even with that many strikeouts, Zach will tell you that that's not something he tries to do. He has moved past John Lester for 2nd place in the league with his 6 strikeouts tonight, but did feel tonight with the number of strikeouts that the Tampa Bay Rays have on offense that would be a pretty clear indicator of whether he's pitching well or not. B.J. Upton has singled twice leading off an inning, and he leads off again here in the 5th. But in the 1st inning he was caught stealing, and in the 3rd inning he was picked off by Greinke. Now he's trying to bunt his way on, and he's down 0-2.
If I had to look at one area, Ryan, where Zach really hasn't, I don't want to use the word done a good job, but I'd say exploited, is inside. He hasn't really thrown many fastballs on the inner half. Upton's got 2 base hits to right field, Ibar to left field. So I think that he needs to come inside a little bit more, especially ahead in the count, and try to set up what he wants to do for the strikeout.
Got Upton to chase one up by his eyes. Zach's 7th, Upton's 101st strikeout this year.
So Oliva wants it up, and Zach gives him what he wants, and Upton is geared toward the fastball most times anyway, and he just chases this fastball up. It probably looked big when he went by the strike zone, but that ball's got a lot of climbing it's doing right there, so tough pitch to hit.
How many Ks do you bring on a Zach Greinke night?
I bet they go to even dozen, and and then they may have some makeshift ones after that.
Among those 7 strikeouts, Zach has struck out Carl Crawford twice, who is now just 1 for 15 against Zach. 2 balls, 1 strike, and it's a good thing to keep him off base. Tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. 45 stolen bases, leads the American League. We just saw Jacoby Ellsbury in Boston. His teammate B.J. Upton among the leaders. Betancourt, the quick throw over to Butler to get Crawford, who is 0 for 3. Carl Crawford has more stolen bases than 7 teams. 2 down in the 5th. Here's Zach's pitch count, brought to you by James B. Nutter and Company. 69 pitches and right at a 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio. Only 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He has given up 7 hits. All of those hits are singles. Here's a pitch up and in on Longoria, who was popped out to first and flied out to left. Zach used a word when asked what he wants to do in the second half that he used last year. Just wants to focus on every pitch. And you hear that so often from players maturing into another step of their career, that, you know, the ability's there, the big games are there, but the good ones focus on every single pitch. Every hitter focuses on every single pitch.
Well, just like hitters don't want to give a pitch away, pitchers don't want to give a pitch away either. And, you know, Longoria, to me, just watching him swing, Ryan, if I'm a pitcher, I'm going to stay hard with everything with him. Fastballs, hard sliders. He seems to have that swing that is real conducive to that curveball, or that slider that goes slow across the plate.
Pitching him inside again. It's 3-2. You know, just having such a great year last year and carrying it into this year, and I'm talking about Greinke, and you know, the key to his success: better curveball, no; better slider, no; better fastball, no; better focus. Same in your career?
Oh, definitely.
Was focus one of the things you look back on when you said, you know, maybe I need to start paying attention to the little details more?
Well, you start watching guys and how they're being pitched ahead of you, and when I came through, we had to talk a little bit more. We didn't have as much information, written information to work with.
That pitch was up, but Longoria out over his front foot, and Bloomquist takes care of it in center field. It's an easy 5th for Greinke. Light with the refreshing taste of lime by Colorado Tourism. Plan your summer vacation at Colorado.com. And by AT&T, switch to the fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Now Alberto Callaspo driving in Alex Gordon in the second inning, tying the game at 1, leads off. His 24th double the year. Down quickly 0-2 against Kazmir. Callaspo, Betancourt, and DeJesus coming up here in the 5th. Still 0-2. One of the negatives for the Rays in the first half, the starters did not give the team very many innings. The rotation only averaging about 5 2/3 innings per start as a whole. So that's quite a strain on the bullpen, and a bullpen that has lost 2 closers to injury for the year, Troy Percival and Jason Isringhausen. And Scott Kazmir, one of the guilty parties, only going about 5 innings per start and 98 pitches. You do the math, that's a lot of 20+ pitches per inning. A lot of long innings, a lot of standing around on defense, a lot of long counts, and as a result, a lot of early exits. Left side, Longoria handling a tough hop. Pena reaches up and Callaspo is out. And now Bud Light will show us what's on tap tomorrow afternoon. 1:10, Royals and the Rays with Luke Hochevar against Matt Garza. And the Angels will be in town Monday through Wednesday. Angels with a 2-game lead over the Rangers in the West. And then after the Angels, the Rangers. Bud Light Lime showing us what's on tap is Betancourt to right, but it stayed up, and Zobrist makes a play. Betancourt is 0 for 2. Well, it's a very small portion, but I haven't seen a blatant deficiency from Yuniesky Betancourt in his first 2 games as a Royal.
Well, he's made all the plays. He's made the routine plays. He's thrown accurately to first base. He's turned the double plays, and he's actually driven the ball in the right center field for a triple, and got 2 hits in his first game. Ran the bases well. I mean, this really has the makings of a pretty good deal for the Royals. I mean, it's a no lose deal, because what he brings is better than the combined number that Trey was playing at shortstop and the numbers that he was getting out of his legitimate shortstop. So to me, it's already an upgrade from where we were. You look around the league, in both leagues, and how many legitimate shortstops are out there that can hit 250, hit 260, and still play defense.
One and 2 on David DeJesus, a single and a ground out tonight.
I asked Alberto Callaspo this question before the game. I said, is it easier having to worry about one guy at shortstop than it is to have 2 or 3? And he said it's easier with one.
Pena won the Gold Glove at first base last year, hangs it in the air to Kazmir, and the Royals go down quietly in the 5th. Brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Zach has struck out 7. He's given up 7 hits, but the Rays have stranded 5, including the bases loaded in the 4th inning. He'll get Pena, Zobrist, and Burrell in the 6th. And Pena very high in the air to right field. A lot of room out there for Tien, and in front of the chain link fence brings it down. Pena just missed, adding to his league leading home run total. That would have been his 25th. Instead, he is 0 for 3. Tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. We asked you, what is more important, keeping Upton and Crawford off the bases or Longoria and Pena in the ballpark? And 61% are happy to know that B.J. Upton and Carl Crawford are a combined 2 for 6, but none has reached second base. This has the looks of being an easy inning for Zach. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Ben Zobrist was 2 for 2 before that pop up to Betancourt. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Pat Burrell will be taking this pitch. 0-1.
He thought he was going to get another breaking ball. I said, yeah, I'll take it. You know, Carlos Pena probably, when he hit that ball to right field, he probably said, man, I wish I was at home.
Curveball at 68. Burrell has struck out twice against Zach. Burrell could have swung at that first pitch and hit it off the windows of the Hall of Fame, and his manager would have said, good job, don't ever do that again. Give the pitcher an opportunity to have a 3-pitch inning.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean, that's tough. In the National League, if the pitcher had to hit, that would really be a taboo, you know, because he won't have a chance to get, you know, grab a cup of water by the time he's back on the mound again.
Now Zach is missed with 3 straight. And let him get away with a walk. Zach's 2nd walk tonight. Only the 23rd all year. So 1 on, 2 out. Coming up tomorrow, it's Youth League Day here at Kauffman Stadium, sponsored by Schlitterbahn Vacation Village Water Park, and the Royals are going to give away 10,000 gold gloves to kids 14 and under in honor of Frank White, who has won 8 gold gloves. Joel showed us Frank's display in the brand new Royals Hall of Fame earlier tonight. So a great giveaway for the kids tomorrow. This nice mild weather is supposed to continue. Luke Hochaver will pitch for KC. Matt Garza for Tampa Bay. Now that one in the middle, is that an actual game glove?
That's a game glove. That was probably 1978. A lot of people that seen it already said they can't believe how small it is, but it was just all about the double play.
When I first saw that display case and I saw 9 gloves, I thought maybe that was the 9th gold glove that the fans gave you.
I've opted to hold on to that one for a while. You know, that old saying, Ryan, they say, well, why do you use such a small glove? I said, well, regardless of how big a glove you use, there's always going to be a ball go off the end of it. So you might as well use one. At least when it's time to turn the double play, the ball doesn't get lost and you can turn the double play.
Ibar is single to right, single to left. Both times swinging at the first pitch. Into left to Jesus, plays it on a bounce. So with 2 outs on only 2 pitches, the Rays get a walk from Burrell. Ibar is 3rd hit and brings up Jason Bartlett.
Well, Zach really missed his spot right here. Miguel Oliva wanted this ball down, and again he gave out by another fastball up out over the plate, and he just really serving the ball in the left field. Now watch where Oliva's glove is here, Ryan. It's down low, and so you see where the pitch is. It's just right around the belt, and that's the second time he's just taken that pitch and driven it to left field.
All 8 hits for the Rays tonight are singles, and while they talk it over, we'll visit with Joel again.
That's some more great stuff in here, guys. Interactive video, and you can literally hit this, and there's George Brett. We slide over here, a little more George, and look at that. That would be Kansas City's native son. We could actually sit there and play the video. There it is. There's Frank with the mustache. Unbelievable stuff. A 4-minute and 7-second video. We could stay on that, guys, if you want, or we can go back up to the booth and send it up to you.
Oh, my goodness.
So that obviously was an off-season interview because the mustache is an off-season deal, and right before spring training, off it goes. Right?
Well, it was before Fox Sports Kansas City. Had not been for television, it'd probably still be there. Well, I think my wife, she mentioned she likes it better with it better gone, so it's probably gone for good now.
One and one on Bartlett. Now I noticed this with George getting his silver bat there. Look at Denny Matthews in that blue suit.
Look at the hair.
Look at the hair. Whose hair is he wearing? Did he borrow someone's hair that night? We're going to have to talk to him about that suit.
Ooh. I'm going to ask him about the hair.
He might still have that suit and that hair in his closet. Rays strand 2 more in the 6th inning.
But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Ken, you will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And last night in our Sonic Slam inning, the first pitch to Alberto Callaspo drove it to the fence in right field, but out. Caught by Gabe Gross. Ball 1 to Willie Bloomquist. He's grounded out twice, once on a fine play at third by Evan Longoria. He'll be followed by Billy Butler and then Jose Guillen. The Royals have let Kazmir off the hook a couple of times tonight. Double play Off the bat of Miguel Olivo in the second. And against Alex Gordon in the fourth. Really chased a bad one there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And both times, Royals getting base runners because of Kazmir's poor control. But able to limit the damage in the second inning with the double play. Gave up just 1 run and prevent any damage in the fourth with the double play against Gordon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Kazmir has not won since May the 9th. And of course, he was on the disabled list beginning in late May with a left quad injury, but he has not been victorious since winning at Boston on May the 9th. It's still 2-2 on Bloomquist.
You know, Kazmir's had a lot of success since he's been in with the Rays, and we looked at that ERA before the game and we said you can't really pay attention to it because he has that capability of throwing a gem when he gets on the mound. So when you get these opportunities, you hate to see double plays wipe him away because this could go down to be a close game, and you want to be able to put yourself in a position to capitalize on one of those opportunities.
Longoria charges in. The throw was off the bag, but Pena applied the tag on Bloomquist. 1 out in the 6th.
Longoria does a good job, Ryan. You say he's real light on his feet. He does a great job. But I'd like to see more infielders set their feet and make an overhand throw here. But he tried to get rid of it quick. It ran back into the runner, and Pena did a good job of making the catch tag and not getting himself tangled up with Willie Bloomquist.
Looked like his foot was on the bag anyway. Billy Butler 0 for 2 with a strikeout against Kazmir. Kazmir, by getting an out here in the 6th inning, that gives him 5 1/3 innings. And now only 6 times in his 13 starts. So a little less than half. Has he gone more than 5? 2-0 on Butler.
He's kind of gone away from his fastball a little bit the last couple of innings, and more changeups and more sliders, and just trying to get the Royals hitters all out front, trying to reach a little bit on the slider down below the swing. I mean, I'm sorry, the changeup down below the swing.
3 balls, no strikes. I would imagine that both offenses right now feel like they should have more than 1 run.
Oh, definitely.
Really getting the green light, and he was going for it all. Royals with just 3 hits, but Kazmir has walked 3, and the Royals have had several hitters counts tonight, like this one to Butler, 3-1. Kazmir's 4th walk, 1 on 1 out for Guillen. Hey fans, the Royals are excited to announce Royals Fundamental Youth Clinics for kids age 6 to 12. 40-minute sessions include instruction from Royals alumni in hitting, pitching, and fielding. And clinics are scheduled for July 21st and 22nd, and then August 4th, 5th, and 6th. Go to royals.com/fundamentals if you'd like information or you'd like to sign up. 0-1 to Guillen. All right, let's watch how Kazmir pitches to Guillen and what Guillen goes for. Twice really gotten in on his hands, and both times Guillen rolling out to the left side of the infield.
Well, he likes the ball down, but he just got to make sure it's down around the knees. And you can see the big swing right there, really pulled off of it, and just trying to maybe hit the ball a little bit too hard, Ryan.
And maybe triggering a little too early, anticipating the pitch being in.
But I think what Scott Kazmir is doing is just taking advantage of his aggressiveness by slowing the ball down and keeping the ball down to where if he does hit it, he keeps it on the ground.
And on the hands again, and Guillen got a chunk of his foot with that foul ball.
When I tell you that's that cut fastball he'll throw in there, and that's where the patience comes in, and that's where a pitcher like Mark Burley takes advantage of right-handed hitters with that cutter he throws in on their hands.
And now Frank Kite Out to look at Jose, who is not quite ready to get back into the box. Tomorrow's game is in high definition. Luke Hochaver against Matt Garza. 1:10 first pitch. It's Youth League Day at Kauffman Stadium. 10,000 kids will be getting a gold glove in honor of Frank White. Royals Live begins at 12:30. If you're not able to come out to the ballpark, you can see us in HD. Brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Billy doing the talking. Carlos Pena. What was he doing there? The nodding, the acknowledging.
I think he's just being nice. Well, we've talked about all year after this. Where's the next pitch going to be? Will it be inside?
Down and in.
Where they can probably say, I'm not going to swing, or you can go away and catch him looking inside.
Like a changeup sign from Hernandez. It is a changeup, and Guillen strikes out. It's only the second strikeout for Kazmir. So maybe by thinking about the pitch being inside and triggering early, that had him set up for something off speed.
Well, that too, Ryan. He's just looking for the pitch in and trying to swing a little too hard. And this is a changeup that really just bounces right behind the plate down, and Jose just really didn't pick this ball up out of Kazmir's hand.
And now Tien, who has walked and doubled. Tien has hit in 6 straight games. He's added a couple of points to his average with his 4th inning double, up to 298. 2-0. May have been ball 3. Scott Kazmir has worked very hard for a guy who's only given up 3 hits in 5 2/3 innings. Again, Tien chasing one that may have been out of the strike zone, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do is chase the ball up, swinging up. He's got to be able to get on top of that ball to be effective. In both those pitches, you can see we're up out of the strike zone, and he's trying to hit him by also swinging up to try to catch up with the ball. That's hard to do.
Lays off that one, 3-2. And now Butler will take off with the next pitch.
Well, first he'll make sure he pitches before he takes off on this pitch, right?
Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. We'll do it again. Change up, and it's lofted into shallow center. Butler will go first to third. A 2-hit game for Tien.
Well, this is a pretty good pitch in terms of location. Mark did a good job of extending on it, hit the ball around the trademark. It kind of jammed himself by lengthening his swing a little too much, but he was able to get it out over second base in our center field for a base hit.
Miguel Olivo grounded into a double play in the second inning, walked in the fourth. Kazmir moving up on 100 pitches. A pretty hittable pitch there and missed it. 0-1.
Those are the kind of pitches you want him to swing at first pitch. You don't want him to chase that slider down in the dirt or change up down, but that's really a pitch in his wheelhouse right there.
One ball, one strike. With one out, Butler walked, and with two down, Tien singled. Butler running goes over to third base. Royals with just 4 hits in 5 2/3 innings against Kazmir, and even with that, a chance to take the lead. And again, Olivo let a pretty hittable pitch get away. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right at 100 pitches. Struck him out. Only the third for Kazmir, and the Royals strand 2 more. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 7th inning, and on one hand, a lot has happened. On the other hand, nothing has happened tonight. In a 1-1 tie, a lot of base runners and some high-stress innings, but not many hits with 2 outs, and not many hits with runners in scoring position. Zach Greinke has scattered 8 singles. He's walked 2. ahead of Michel Hernandez 0-1. Rays have stranded 7 in 6 innings against Zach. Hernandez has grounded out, popped out, and now lines to right. Tien trying to cut it off, and it slices away from him. Hernandez will be at second base with nobody out. Only the 4th extra base hit all year for Michel Hernandez. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. So the first extra base hit against Zach in 6+ innings. Now facing B.J. Upton, who has singled twice and struck out. Both of Upton's base hits have been to the right side. He has 2 sacrifice bunts this year. Pulls this one to Alex. Hernandez holds, and Upton is out. It's not what Joe Madden was looking for. Hernandez at second base with 1 away. Here's tonight's Mercedes attention assist of the game, and Upton's had a tough day on the bases. He's been caught stealing, and he's been picked off by Greinke. And now in his last 2 at-bats, he has struck out and grounded out with a runner at second base, nobody out, runner not advancing. And it's 0-1 on Carl Crawford.
There you go back to Upton's first 2 at-bat, Ryan. Ground ball, 2 ground ball base hits to right field, and now you have an opportunity to advance a runner, and then you roll over and hit a ground ball at third. So it might be why Joe Madden probably didn't put the bunt on, based on those 2 balls he hit the right field on the ground in his first 2 at-bats.
1-1 to Crawford, and by going 0 for 3 tonight, Crawford 1 out of 16 against Zach Greinke. Zach struck him out his first 2 times. One and 2. Crawford getting to the big leagues in 2002 as a 20-year-old. With his first major league home run here at Kauffman Stadium in 2002 off of Sean Sedlacek. So a guy who's been around for a long time, but only 27. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Zach has been real successful with Crawford with that slider, but that one he just started a little too low and didn't make it quite tempting enough. If he gets it up about 6 inches, then Carl Crawford probably will chase that hard slider inside.
He got him to chase it, and Crawford able to make contact. Now Zach has reached 100 pitches, hasn't really had a long inning. The disappointing one, I'm sure for him, was the 6th. The Rays didn't score, but Zach got the first 2 outs on only 2 pitches, and then a walk after getting ahead of Pat Burrell 0-1. Willie Ibar singled. He got Bartlett to ground out, but that could have been a very quick and efficient inning for Zach. And it might be the difference between Zach going 7 innings tonight and going 8 innings tonight.
Well, that's true. Carl Crawford really is kind of set up for a fastball on the inner half right now, but Zach, he wants to keep pounding that slider in there, but his eye level is already down on the ground. And if he can get a fastball on the inner half up just a little bit, I'm sure Carl Crawford will chase that pitch.
Similar to B.J. Upton in the 5th inning, who chased one that was at eye level. Hernandez with a leadoff double, standing at second with 1 out. 2 on, 1 out. A 3-walk game for Zach Greinke.
Well, they tried to get it on the outer half, and it just ran right out of his hand with the ball right away. A little too far outside.
It's only the 3rd time all year that Zach has had 3 walks in a game. He has never walked 4. He walked 3 in his first start back on April the 8th at Chicago, and then he walked 3 at Cleveland on June the 11th. Every other start, and that's 16. 2 walks or less. MLB.com's At Bat 2009 for the iPhone and iPod Touch puts live baseball right at your fingertips. You'll get play-by-play from game day, real-time box scores, video highlights, and even live game day audio. So visit Royals.com today on your iPhone or iPod Touch to download At Bat 2009. So 2 on for Longoria.
Well, this was Zach got to be careful with his curveball right here. I think Longoria's got a great swing for the curveball. I would just stay hard with him with the hard fastball, hard slider.
And he's over 100 pitches, but still throwing 97. Well, it was last night in the 8th inning when you and I felt that Juan Cruz gave him too much credit and didn't just stay with the hard stuff after jumping ahead 1 and 2.
Well, that's true, and he was just sitting on that slider. I mean, that changeup, back-to-back changeups, and the second one stayed up a little longer. And I tell you what, he didn't miss that one.
Now it's 2-0. Quite a few times tonight, Longoria has had to bend back to get out of the way as Zach has tried to pitch him in, but not close enough to get Longoria to trigger. We asked you earlier tonight, and you call it, presented by Sprint, what is more important? And you have responded 60% to 40%, keeping Upton and Crawford off base. And those two have been on base 3 times tonight. Longoria and Pena have stayed in the ballpark. Neither one has a hit. 3-1. No surprise, Longoria is swinging on 3-0. You want him to make contact. You'll take the walk, and the base is loaded. But what you really want him to do is swing the bat.
Yeah, you want him on the ground. Try to get yourself a double play and get out of this inning.
And with Zach now at 106 pitches, and John Bale warming up in the bullpen, you wonder if this is his last hitter. Trey Hillman brings on Bale to face Pena. On the outside at 96.
Well, you like to see Zach work himself through this inning, Ryan. You'd hate to turn this over to someone from the bullpen. You want to finish this inning yourself. And this fastball had a lot of hop on it and just came back and grabbed the outside corner.
What would you like to see here?
Fastball on the outside corner.
That's the kind of pitch that even if Longoria knows it's coming, he's not going to do anything with it.
Well, he can roll over on it, hit a ground ball that's short, he can pop it up.
I don't think Zach thought that Michel Hernandez was going to take off from second base. That was just more of, I think he liked his mindset and wanted to reset himself. Got the middle of the plate. Betancourt backhands out at second. Double play. Evan Longoria, and Zach Greinke gets one of the best RBI men in the American League to ground into a double play. It all began with a nice little backhand stop by Yuniesky Betancourt, combining with Alberto Callaspo. And now, before the bottom of the 7th inning, Joe Madden and his athletic trainer come rushing out of the third base dugout, and Kazmir is done after 6 innings, 101 pitches. It'll be hard-throwing Grant Balfour taking over for the Rays. The Royals have Gordon, Callaspo, and Betancourt coming up when we come back. Snapping a 3-game losing streak and beating Boston. Boston had won 4 in a row. So the Yankees now 2 back in the East. And Chicago beating Baltimore. So the White Sox 1.5 back of the Tigers in the Central. The Angels over the A's. Minnesota is in front of Texas. If the Twins hang on, Minnesota would be just 2 games back in the Central, and the Angels could take a 3-game lead in the American League West. So all the races in the American League are close. Only one close race in the National League, the Central. 3 teams are only 3 back of St. Louis. In the East and the West, 6 games or more lead by the first place teams, but everything tight in the American League. Grant Balfour is back from the bereavement list. His grandmother passed away right before the All-Star break, and he is from Australia, so he had a long journey home for her services and rejoined the team last night. So he takes over and gets a clean inning in the 7th with Kazmir being taken out while he was warming up, and Balfour throws hard. Alex walked and scored the Royals run in the 2nd inning, coming home on a Callaspo double, and then grounded into a double play in the 4th. One ball, 1 strike. Well, when a team improves by 31 games like the Rays did last year, there are going to be several guys who have breakout seasons, and one of them was Grant Balfour, who became a very reliable setup man. He did not get to the Rays until May the 31st. So he basically missed the first 2 months. He was a go-to guy late in the game before the season was over. Crawford almost overran that pop-up but able to stay on his feet and retire Gordon one away.
That's one thing that left fielders have to remember here, Ryan, is that when that ball gets up high like that, the ball's going to always come back toward the fair territory. So they can't really go to the wall and walk back. You just got to track the ball, and because the ball's always going to go back behind you.
And now Callaspo 1 for 2 with that RBI double in the second inning. Denny Matthews, in all my years working with him on radio, many times would refer to that left field corner as the Bermuda Triangle.
And a lot of ballparks are like that. Old Yankee Stadium was like that. Boston's like that.
I think it was 1985. There's Denny getting a closer look at the Bermuda Triangle. Remember, he referred to a very long and very high home run that I think Steve Balboni hit in 1985. Hit it very high, and it started foul, but the closer it got to the foul pole, just kind of straightened up. And he said that happened so many times on high fly balls into that corner.
Yeah, once they get above the stadium, and I really noticed in Boston and New York, Oakland's another stadium that the ball will go back that way. So you just really have to be careful when you're running hard toward the wall and cross that foul line.
You know, it makes sense too, because especially in the summer with the prevailing wind coming out of the south, it can create kind of a swirling effect. But the upper bowl of Kauffman Stadium ends at both foul poles, so you know the wind's pretty consistent from home plate, swinging around towards the left field line, and then all of a sudden the seats end, and so the wind currents change quite a bit in between the Hall of Fame and the edge of the upper deck on the left field side. 1 out walk to Callaspo. That's 5 walks. The Rays have given the Royals tonight. Balfour cursing himself. So 1 on 1 out for Yuniesky Betancourt. Not sure if we'll see Zach Greinke in the top of the 8th inning with 108 pitches, but Kazmir 1 run 4 hits in 6 innings. Zach 1 run 9 hits in 7 innings. 7 strikeouts for Zach. 4 walks for Kazmir, but only 1 of those walks turned into a run. Well, maybe we'll see here how good Yuniesky Betancourt can handle a hit and run.
Well, that would be an ideal move to try to make right here, to try to open something up and try to create a first and third situation the way David's swinging the bat.
Not running, and Betancourt fouls it away. For 2 so far tonight, but last time up lined hard to Zobrist in right field. Well, one thing the Royals are getting in Betancourt is a good bunter. This is not a bunting situation with a runner at first, 1 out. He may bunt for a base hit, but among the league leaders in sacrifice bunts. Could be 2. And the ball flattens out on Ibar and rolls through his legs. First and third, 1 out.
He does a good job, Ryan, of going down and putting this ball in play. But it looked like the ball may have hit the edge of the grass there, and just really flattened out right there. What a horrible feeling that is when you're an infielder to have that happen to you. But you got to get an arrow when the ball goes through your legs like that. But you all set up waiting on that long hop and hit the edge of the grass and just shoot straight down, and you're not anticipating it. And the Royals have a great opportunity right here.
Kazmir is out. Randy Choate is in. David DeJesus coming up. Royals with a chance to take the lead. DeJesus coming up with 4 hits already in the series. Double in his first at-bat last night, scored a run. And a single in the third, scored a run, then an RBI against the man he's about to face in the 6th inning, left-hander Randy Choate, and then a base hit against Scott Kazmir, who is out. Grant Balfour is out, and Choate is in for the 2nd straight night to try and get to Jesus. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Oh, 1 on David. The Rays coming so close to ending the inning with a ground ball double play. Could have been their 3rd of the game, and the double play was huge for Kazmir in both the 2nd and 4th innings. The ground ball from Betancourt hit the lip of the infield grass, flattened out, and went through Ibar's legs.
Well, David's going to have a lot of patience here. Choate is down low angle, throwing the ball from behind him, so he's going to have to hang in there and do what he's been doing, just stay through the middle and the left center field, trying to get the ball up.
His base hit against Choate last night was up the middle. Another chance for 2. They're going to have to hurry. Out at second base. No double play, and the Royals take the lead. So DeJesus drives in his 43rd of the year.
Well, David, that's one of the pitch he wanted to swing at with Betancourt. You see him right here. He did a good job just stopping right there. And David did a good job getting out of the box and beating this throw to first base.
DeJesus singled against Choate last night. Chad Bradford comes on. He'll do the same again tonight. Getting a run against Grant Balfour and Randy Choate, and now Chad Bradford comes on in the same situation he did last night. Randy Choate coming on to face DeJesus, a lefty-lefty matchup, and then Bradford to face Willie Bloomquist. With 1 out, Callaspo walked, and the big play in the inning, Yuniesky Betancourt hitting what looked like a high bouncer to second and a possible inning-ending double play, but the ball stayed low, scooted through Ibar's legs, setting up a 1st and 3rd, and then David DeJesus with another ground ball to second base. The Rays tried to turn a double play but couldn't. David reached, Callaspo scored, and the Royals ahead by 1. And now Bradford to face Bloomquist. Off of his glove. And no play. field single for Bloomquist and 2 on for Butler.
Now, this is one of those balls that, as a sinker baller, you kind of expect to be hit back to you occasionally, but that ball just ran right up from the heel of his glove right through the top of his glove. That's a ball that Bradford probably wishes he's had another shot at.
Bradford also faced Billy Butler last night, got him to ground into an inning-ending fielder's choice. Billy 0 for 2 tonight with a walk.
Yeah, here Billy Ryan has got to just stay back and just try to drive the ball to right center field. That'll get it up, and that'll get him the line drive that he's looking for.
Pulls it to the left side. Bartlett to second, and Ibar was able to stay on the bag as he was falling towards center field. Inning over, but the Royals take the lead. De Jesus driving in Callaspo. Choice, and now defensive changes for the top of the 8th. Ryan Friel moves into right field, and Mark Tien, who started in right, moves to third base. So Friel will bat in Alex Gordon's number 7 position, and John Bale takes over on the mound. So we hope this is Trey Hillman just wanting to get Alex off of his legs after playing at third base all of last night in 7 innings tonight, and nothing any more severe than that. Good sign that Alex is still in the dugout, or maybe in a 1-run game, and Alex not having played a lot of games this year. Some of his rehab games, a good chunk of his rehab games this year, were as the designated hitter. So maybe could also be a defensive upgrade in Trey's mind, bringing in Friel and moving Tien over to third. Either way, John Bale trying to hold a 1-run lead.
Well, I know Alex, with his competitive spirit, he'd probably rather be out at third base right now in this situation with the game on the line.
One and 1 to Pena. 0 for 3 tonight against Greinke with 2 strikeouts, and 0 for 7 in the series with 4 strikeouts. Just over the bag and foul. Well, that was close, and Pena never got out of the box. That would have been an easy out. That's exactly what the Royals are expecting from Pena. They have that right side stacked, as if David Ortiz or Jim Thome was at the plate, with Betancourt moving from the left side over to the right side of second base, and Iaspo in shallow right field. Two and two from Bale to Pena. After Pena, a switch hitter in Zobrist, and then a right-hand batter in Burrell. This could be Bale's only hitter in this inning. Behind John Bale, Juan Cruz, who has been warming up, and Joaquim Soria, who is just beginning to warm up in case Soria needs to bail the Royals out of the eighth. Did not go. Ed Rapuano down to third base tonight.
I think John Bell, if you ask him, Ryan, he'd rather have this pitch right back than the same spot. You know, that is way too close to take. But look, it might have been a little on the inner half, but that was a good pitch selection right there.
A leadoff walk, and for Pena, his league-leading 62nd walk of the year. It was in the eighth inning last night. The Royals had a one-run lead, and Evan Longoria hitting a two-run home run to put Tampa Bay in front, and eventually winning 8-7. And Bale will stay on to face the switch hitter Zobrist. 2 hits against Greinke and scored Tampa Bay's run back in the second inning. Way out in front. Gets that ball into the upper deck off of third. A tomahawk chop like swing.
He almost fouled that ball straight behind him in the third deck. He's never getting out ahead of a fastball. That's way out there.
A little bit inside. You wouldn't know it by last night with Tampa Bay scoring 8 runs and getting a couple of home runs, but like the Royals, having a tough time scoring runs lately. Joe Maddon's team only averaging about 3.5 runs per game this month. So breakout game last night, but just 1 run, 9 hits tonight. On the ground, Betancourt again, long throw, got it. Great play. Pena moves up to second base.
Yeah, that's a really difficult play for Betancourt right here, Ryan. First, he ranges far to his right. Then it's the ball he probably should have backhand, but he caught the ball in an awkward position, but still was able to make a strike throw to Billy at first base. That was an outstanding play. Watch the glove angle on that. Normally you backhanded that ball there, and he just does a great job straightening himself up and making a nice throw.
Well, Juan Cruz gets a chance to redeem himself as he comes on in the 8th inning with a tying run at second and 1 out.
with mild cramping of the lower left forearm, and so he goes 6 innings and have been followed by 3 relievers. The Royals now on to their third pitcher of the game. Let's go back over to Ryan and Frank.
Well, that's good news because you never want to have cramping of the upper left forearm or the middle left forearm. But as long as it's the lower left forearm, he's going to be okay.
I think either way he's out of the game.
That's pretty specific. Lower left forearm. Not to be confused with the upper left wrist. Well, Ron Cruz last night came on in the 8th inning with the Royals in front by 1. Got 2 quick outs. You got Deonor Navarro and B.J. Upton, but then Carl Crawford singled. Cruz appeared to be distracted by Crawford's speed at first. Eventually a wild pitch got him to second, and then Longoria hit a 2-run home run. Good start with a slider for a strike to Pat Burrell. The count went from 1-2 to 3-2 on Longoria. It appeared that Miguel Olivo first wanted a fastball. Cruz shook him off, then wanted a slider. Cruz shook him off. Then the changeup. Cruz nodded, and the ball ended up on the patio in front of the Royals Hall of Fame. Burrell struck out twice against Greinke, also walked against Zach. Just missed, down and away.
That's a good spot for Cruz right there. If he could just raise it up about 6 inches on the outside corner, he'll get that pitch. It's a tough pitch to even put in play. The thing that Cruz got to make sure that he understands that he still got that good fastball and still want to use it, but don't fall in love with his secondary pitches.
Olivo drops it, but still called a strike, and it's 1-2. Pena walked to open the inning against John Bale, moved to second base on a ground ball from Zobrist. Two and two. Cruz giving up the home run to Longoria, but an inning before that, Pat Burrell hit a big home run against Jamie Wright that got the Rays back into the game and down by 1. And that was a no-doubter onto the patio in front of the Royals Hall of Fame. 97 miles an hour. It's still 2-2.
Well, this is the home run here, Ryan. That sinker that ran back into Pat Burrell's bat, and he, as soon as he made contact, he just dropped his head and started running to first. He knew he got all of that ball.
Now Levo wants to go through the signs again. Line towards right. Friel will not get it. And the Rays are going to tie the game. So Tampa Bay comes through again against Cruz in the 8th inning. On one hand, Cruz leaves a pitch up for a double. On the other hand, you are asking for trouble with a leadoff walk in a 1-run game in the 8th inning.
Well, that's true. That's just an up out over the plate, and Pat Burrell didn't try to pull it. He just went right with it and drove it down the right field line. You can see the frustration from Olivo after that ball was hit.
And now Joe Dillon, who's originally from the Royals organization, will run for Burrell, who's the DH, as he now represents the go-ahead run. 10 hits now for Tampa Bay, but only 2 extra base hits. And here's Willie Ibar, who was 3 for 3 against Greinke, all singles. Ball 1 with a fastball at 97. Ibar has faced Juan Cruz 2 times before tonight. 1 hit, a double. One ball, 1 strike. So the Royals begin the second half with blown saves in the first 2 games. And both of them charged to Juan Cruz. Now Roman Colon is warming up by himself in the bullpen. If the Royals were still in the lead and maybe a runner in scoring position, 1 out, 2 outs, you might see Joakim Soria coming in, who was just starting to loosen up as Cruz was called into the game in case he needed to get a 4 or 5 out save. But now that the game is tied, Soria will take a seat. He's lucky that pitch was high and away. Kind of dropped down his arm, and that slider just spun to home plate. Hardly any break at all.
That would have been very hittable had it been out over the plate a little bit more.
Big crowd here tonight again, but very quiet as the Rays have tied in the 8th. Now it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ibar hammers that one into right field, and Tampa Bay will take the lead. Back-to-back doubles with 1 out in the 8th inning. Ibar is 4 out of 4. That looked like another hanging changeup.
Yeah, that was a changeup, Ryan, at 85 miles an hour. It just sit out over the plate. It didn't turn over. It just was just straight. And Ibar was really sitting on it and turned on. That's the first ball he's pulled tonight, the changeup.
So Zach Greinke will not win his 11th tonight. Turns a 1-run lead over the bullpen. John Bale with a leadoff walk to Carlos Pena. The only out of the inning was an excellent play at short by Yuniesky Betancourt. And then Burrell driving in Pena with a double. Ibar driving in pinch runner Joe Dillon with a double. And now Trey Hillman driving Juan Cruz out of the game. Colon saves 2 nights in a row, coming on in the 8th inning, trying to protect a 1-run lead and departing down by 1. One of the runs in this 8th inning charged to John Bale, but the go-ahead run charged to Cruz. Roman Colon with Gabe Kapler now running at second base for Willie Ibar. Colon's going to pitch to Jason Bartlett.
Yeah, Ryan Cruz is a pitcher that really thrives on keeping the ball down with movement, and he got hurt with a fastball he left up and a changeup up. So he just got to go back and just get focused back on what he does best. Just keep the ball down and let it sink and get this ground ball.
Slider for a strike on Bartlett. Singled Ben Zobrist to the plate back in the 2nd inning. He has walked and grounded out tonight. One and one.
I don't know if anybody was sure. That ball looked to be down from that camera angle.
The 3-2 is ball 4. So Cologne gives up the walk. That sets up first and third for B.J. Upton. Well, Upton 2 for 4 tonight with a first inning single and a third inning single. Since then he has struck out and grounded out to third. First pitch, B.J. lays off the pitch high. 1-0. Cologne got Bartlett on the ground ball, has walked Hernandez. 1-0 pitch to B.J. He swings through a fastball up. 1-1.
Well, that was just a situation where B.J. decided, boy, if I get a fastball, I'm going to take a rip at it. That ball was way out of the strike zone, high.
Now the 1-1. Too low. 2 balls and a strike. Greinke for 7. Bale started this inning, the third. Cruz faced 2 men, gave up 2 doubles. Cologne with a third under his belt. The 2-1. B.J. lines a base hit into center field. That will get Kepler home from third, and that will make it a 4-2 ball game. So Cologne gives up the RBI single to B.J. Upton, who collects his tonight. Hernandez advances to second.
Well, if you continue to come in and work behind in the count, you put it in the hitter's favor, and Cologne has done just that, coming out, falling behind everybody. And grooves a fastball right there, and B.J. takes it right back up the middle.
So Bob McClure pays a visit to his right-hander Cologne. Carl Crawford will be the hitter for the Rays. The Rays have made it a 3-run inning here in the 8th. The leadoff walk to Pena started the inning. 2 walks and 3 hits in the inning, and that is translated into 3 runs. Here's Carl Crawford. Pitch is high to Crawford. 1 ball, no strikes. Two men on, 2 men out for Crawford, who looks for his first hit. 0 for 3 with a walk. It's too high. Fastball, 2-0. That's low. So Crawford is up 3 balls, no strikes.
Well, if you're Trey Hillman and Bob McClure, pitching coach, the manager, this has got to be tough to watch. This is just puts a drain on your team. And you got a guy come out there and just at this point, he's all over the place.
Crawford takes ball 4. So that loads the bases. Crawford walking for the 2nd time tonight. The bases will be loaded. That's Bruce Chen, the left-hander. He's been starting recently and is actually scheduled to start Tuesday in their game against the Angels.
Well, you just need to get somebody in this game that can throw a strike. I mean, you at this point, you'd take a guy getting beat up out there if he's throwing the ball over the plate, but not continually behind in the count, walking everybody. throwing a lot of balls.
Evan Longoria takes the first pitch in for a strike.
The defense starts to sag a little bit, back on their heels.
The pitch hit on the ground, back a third, long throw by Tian, and out at first to retire the side. The Rays send
Kansas City Royals, the state of Missouri, and Fox Sports Kansas City have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Gabe Kapler, who is a pinch runner for Willie Ibar, stays in right field. Ben Zobrist was in right. He goes to second base. And the fifth pitcher for the Rays tonight is Dan Wheeler. We saw him last night pitching a scoreless eighth, getting Betancourt, DeJesus, and Bloomquist, setting up the save for J.P. Howell. Try and do the same tonight. It'll be Jose Guillen, Mark Tian, and Miguel Olivo. Guillen has grounded out twice, both to the left side, and he has struck out. Those at bats against Scott Kazmir. No balls, one strike. Deep center field, long run. Upton at the track, makes a catch at the wall, and that's the way it's going right now. On a cool night in Kansas City, in a big ballpark, if it's a typical July the 18th night, Jose Guillen has just hit his 10th home run of the year.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He does a good job here. He just gets the pitch down and really gets a good extension on it, but he hits to the deepest part of the ballpark here in Kauffman Stadium. And B.J. Upton, with his speed, was able to just float under it and make the catch.
Martin has 2 hits and a walk, and he is right at 300. On the ground is Zobrist, who has moved from right field to second base, 2 down. We didn't get into it last night, but it interesting setup for Dan Wheeler after he gets a sign from the catcher. Kind of coils himself. I called it kind of a standing fetal position and kind of wiggling the ball in his glove, almost as if he's talking to himself or getting himself pumped up, and then stands upright, nice and calm, and delivers the pitch.
Yeah, you always wonder how players develop their routine, and this is one of the most unusual routines that you'll see.
Kind of shaking his head as he's wiggling the ball in the glove, and then stands upright, and everything is fine in the world.
Well, you go back to that ball that Jose Guillen hit. We were talking about making a mistake and getting away with it, and the Raws make that mistake, the ball's out of the ballpark. Right now, Tampa Bay makes that mistake, the ball gets caught.
Shallow left center. Bartlett holding off the outfielders, and Wheeler for the second straight night has a 1-2-3 8th inning. Rival Sports Bar in right field, packed tonight. Great place to watch the game and a great place to watch Joel, Jamie, and Split. Boulevard Royals Live brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. So Bruce Chen's tune-up before his next start on Tuesday against the Angels is a relief appearance. Trey Hillman needed 3 pitchers to get him through the 8th inning. John Bale, beginning the 8th with a 1-run lead, got 1 out. Juan Cruz faced 2 batters, did not record an out. Roman Colon got the last 2 outs. So Chen to face Pena, Zobrist, and Dillon. Alberto Callaspo should get an outfield assist, throwing out Pena. Carlos Pena 0 for 4 tonight and 0 for 8 in the series. However, it was his leadoff walk last inning that got that 3-run rally started. And now Ben Zobrist. 2 out of 4 tonight. Singles in the 2nd and 4th innings. Scored back in the 2nd. That was the game's first run. The Royals tied it in the bottom of the 2nd on Callaspo's double that scored Gordon. Royals taking the lead in the bottom of the 7th. David DeJesus hitting into a fielder's choice, but scored Callaspo from third base. So the Royals with a 2-1 lead going into the 8th, but Tampa Bay batting around, scoring 3. Pat Burrell's double scored Carlos Pena. Willie Ibar's double scored Joe Dillon, who was running for Burrell. And then B.J. Upton's single scored Gabe Kapler, who is running for Ibar. Still 1-2. Interesting to see what the Royals do with Bruce Chen when Gil Mesh comes back from the disabled list. Placed on the disabled list today. Sidney Ponson will make the start on Monday. Chen will start on Tuesday. 2-2 on Zobrist. But when Mesh comes back and when Kyle Davies gets back to the big leagues, even though Bruce Chen doesn't have great numbers, Trey Hillman has complimented him for his ability to throw strikes. And you never can have too many lefties in the bullpen.
Well, you're right, Ryan, but you like to say the optimum word there is strikes. And when you come out of the bullpen, you have to be able to throw strikes out of the bullpen. You have to be able to get your first pitch breaking ball over and change speeds.
That changeup had Zobrist all twisted up, 2 down in the ninth. And now 2 down to Joe Dillon. Joe Dillon, drafted by the Royals back in '97 in the 7th round out of Texas Tech. Made it as far as Double-A. Retired because of back problems. Went back to Lubbock and was a volunteer coach with the Red Raiders. Got his back fixed, returned to the game, got to the big leagues. Butler handles the pop-up, raised down quickly in the top of the ninth. In the bottom half, it'll be Friel. Hard to watch first 2 games of the second half. 2 one-run leads going into the 8th inning, watching them slip away. Now the Royals will have to get at least 2 against J.P. Howell, who has saved 7. 2 of those saves against the Royals. He has faced 6 Royals this year, retired all 6. He'll get Ryan Friel, Alberto Callasco, and Unieski Betancourt.
Well, the Royals need base runners now, so Ryan Friel, I would expect him to take a strike, try to take JP as far as he can before he has to swing the bat. So they really need base runners, so they need to try to work the count and try to get some free passes.
84 miles an hour with 1, so for 1. That's a long run for Kapler, and he's there. There are some guys who can make pitching look extremely difficult, and then there's J.P. Howell, who makes pitching look really easy. If you pay attention to the radar gun and you pay attention to just throwing strikes.
He just wants to throw strikes. I talked to him before the game today, and all he wants to do is just come out, attack the strike zone, be able to get his off-speed over. But we talked about when he pitched it, in our system, talked about the high pitch count and how he didn't throw as many strikes when he was starting. But as a bullpen guy, you just have to come out and just pound the strike zone.
And he's 0-1 on Callaspo. Alberto, good night. Doubled with an RBI in the second inning, walked and scored in the seventh, which was at the time the go-ahead run. He went around on appeal to Todd Tishner at first base. J.P. Howell, first round pick of the Royals in 04, in the big leagues in 05. Three-pitch strikeout as Hernandez gets it down to Pena. I would guess you faced pitchers like J.P. Howell where you foul out as Ryan Friel did, or you strike out like Alberto Callaspo, and you go to the dugout and say, how did I not hit that pitch?
Well, guys like J.P. Howell want you to get yourself out, and normally you do it by trying to hit the ball too hard or trying to pull a ball, but you just got to stay with him. Mainly he's going to be away from you. You just try to work the ball the other way, try to stay on the ball back through the middle, and not try to hit him out of the ballpark.
And it's 76 miles an hour. Hits the outside corner on Betancourt. 0 for 3 tonight, but reached on an error in the seventh inning, and that at the time was a big play. Could have been an inning double play for the Rays, but it squirted through Ibar's legs at second and led to the Royals' then go-ahead run. And at the time thinking, well, that's a huge break for a team that could use a break, playing against a very good team in the Rays. But in the very next half inning, Tampa Bay scored 3. One ball, 2 strikes. Betancourt has had a good game in the field tonight. Two and two.
He's done a real good job around line off those balls in the dirt. Callaspo chased a couple of those pitches down in the dirt, but Betancourt's done a good job of laying off, and hopefully he's trying to work the ball back through the middle of the right field and going to make J.P. Howell get the ball up.
Game over. J.P. Howell with 2 perfect innings in the first 2 games of this series. Picks up his 8th save. Tampa Bay wins it 4-2. And with Boston losing tonight, Tampa Bay picks up a game in the East. They are 5.5 back.